Hi, this is Vinita Bhatia. I'm the editor of Campaign India and I'm here with Can. And I'm with an individual who would like to have a very nice extension added to his designation. Well, it's not formal, it's just something informal, and that is Chief Follow Up Officer. Guess why? The reason is very simple. As an entrepreneur, he is often the one who is following up constantly, whether it's internally with his team, whether it's externally with his clients. And that hustle is how he ensures that his agency keeps its clients very clued into their roster, his team, his flock all around him. So I have with me Girish Balachandran, the founder of On Purpose. Girish, thanks for joining us over here.
Thank you, Vinita. And very important that we get paid on time.
Oh, follow ups, tenacity. I'm sure you're doing a good job with that.
Thank you.
There is also this very interesting conversation that several people are having at Cannes, which is, about the context surrounding this year at Cannes Lion, which is the mandatory AI disclosures, the stricter client sign-offs, the greater scrutiny of case studies, which could have or might not have had a significant decline in overall entries. It's down 25%, which is significant, according to me. So, do you think that this means that the industry's recent credibility reckoning is also changing what is the kind of work that is getting entered and ergo the kind of work that is getting awarded?
So there are two parts to this, Vinita. I think a 25% drop in entries is significant. There's no denying that. And see, there will always be bad players who will take away credibility from those who are actually doing the good work. But I don't think it's fair to sort of paint all of them in the same brush. I think the increased scrutiny is good, but because it adds more steps to the process, again, it's just making it, I think just it'll take us a little bit of getting used to the increased steps in the process so that I'm sure next year, now that we're more aware of these increased steps, we'll be better prepared. So that's one. The second thing is I was talking to, a fellow colleague at Cannes who has come from South Africa, and she was making her first entry from a new agency this year. And she spoke about how, the increased steps in the scrutiny really puts a lot of pressure in terms of getting a lot of evidence, getting a lot of documentation that was previously not required in place. So I don't think the problem is unique to India. I think everybody who's putting an entry is facing that, and I think that's probably also resulted in the lower number of people, a lower number of entries at Cannes overall.
You know, while I mean, my opinions about that still stand divided. One thing I would like to point out is that certain categories, such as outdoor, PR especially, and media. Now, these have always been amongst India's strongest performance in recent times. Yet, many of them have struggled to break through this year. Does that again suggest that India's creative advantage is becoming less distinctive globally? Or is it that juries are now rewarding a completely different set of capabilities than those that had fueled India's recent successes?
See, I can comment from a PR perspective.
Yes.
Firstly, a lot of what PR stands for is not necessarily reflected in what Cannes celebrates. A lot of our mandate is to manage reputation. The kind of work that we do is about systemic behavior change, which is very hard to measure in sort of a campaign, from a campaign perspective, etc. So I would say there's almost, there's this world of PR that does not even feature at Cannes. Now, within the work in PR that actually gets the limelight at Cannes, from a PR perspective, what I would say is that we need to get a lot better at idea origination. What typically happens in the PR sector of Cannes is that we get included as part of larger integrated campaigns, integrated ideas where PR is also supported, which is great, not to take away from any of that good work. But really, the PR industry will find its sort of spot in the sun when we are able to be the originator of the idea. that then gets executed across disciplines. Right now, that is not happening enough.
Why do you think that is not happening enough when you already have a category that is dedicated to PR? I mean, you mentioned about the fact that, it ends up getting integrated into something which is a larger play.
Yeah.
But if you already have a category, then why is it that, it's misplaced or, ironically not given its spot?
So, two things. One is we have to find it within ourselves. When I talk about ourselves, I talk about the industry, both agencies and clients, to be bolder about having the confidence to take a risk and say, yes, this might be slightly controversial, this might be really tough to execute, but we must, because nothing of significance gets done without being unreasonable. And I think we tend to play safe too much. So I think the onus is both on agencies and clients. Agencies to really push the boundaries, and for clients to say, yes, let's do that. We need better work there. And I think the second thing is packaging. Just, when I look at the way in which a lot of these, the winners package their work, one thing that I am pleased about, Vinita, is when I see the work that is actually being shortlisted from India, and I'll take the example of St. Jude Center. And today we've heard that there's a film called The Mothers of Courage by Shiksha Lokam that has also been shortlisted in the SDG category. What I love about both of them is their fundamental premise is on showing the authentic lives of the people that are being touched. In the case of St. Jude's, it was not about showing how people are suffering from cancer, but it was about just showing them the reality of their lives, unvarnished as it may be, but just showing it the way it is. Now, that's very rare because we're used to polishing things, making it prettier, making it look more shiny so that people will sort of understand and give better. But what's worked in that case and with Mothers of Courage is it was shot like a documentary. Now, for me, what's encouraging is that is the future of communications. It is the future of the public relations industry where we will move away from a lot of the sort of gloss around building communication narratives that sound very virtuous and preachy, but just keep things the way they are and show it to people in a way that they can connect with as humans rather than something that has been curated and shown to them as a side, but just show it to them the way it is. So I'm really excited about that because I think um, that's going to be so much more exciting to work on.
While it might be very exciting to work on, it's also very challenging because you're talking about presenting a very unvarnished persona of, let's say, a client or the client's products or solutions, or even the founder, to the world to view, watch, and comment on. Not something that a lot of companies are, confident about, because at the end of the day, what is PR? PR is all about reputational management, right? There are very few of them who are willing to be brave enough to say, okay, this is me. I have got all warts and moles and wrinkles. Yeah, take me as I am. They don't want it. They want a clear skin, which is completely AI generated. So, how do you think that kind of unvarnished creation in PR can come? Will you be able to convince clients to put that kind of work out there in PR?
It will take time. We're not used to it. I think culturally we're not used to being vulnerable. We see it as a weakness rather than a strength. So I think that will definitely be a journey, but with the increased amount of focus on AI driven this and AI driven that, which makes everything clean and polished and makes it look a certain way, the only way you can break through is by showing them the slightly imperfect, the slightly authentic, the you said it, warts and all. I mean, sometimes I would say that, when CEOs are posting on LinkedIn, maybe make a spelling mistake. Because it's almost like, and let it be. You don't have to correct it because at least it's human rather than something that's been,
Yeah,
machine
let the M
generated.
dash come there. Right?
Make the M, but as long as you sort of genuinely meant to have that M dash there and it has a place, don't clean it up.
So, I mean, that actually gives me the segue to my next question, which is that much of this so called reputation, or actually, it's not even so called, much of reputation management has historically focused on influencing how people think. It could be about the product, it could be about the brand, it could be about service, it could be, again, the founder, the organization. But now LLMs are influencing, how machines know, learn, retrieve, recommend. So how does that change the entire communications playbook? Because now you literally have to get the machines to understand and adapt what it is that you want them to pick up and make the right recommendations to the consumers or the readers or even the whoever else. And isn't this also, if I were to add on to that, putting certain kind of risk for that organizations haven't yet started estimating?
So one of the things I really enjoy about coming to Cannes is there's a lot of inspiration in the sessions that they create in the agenda. And yesterday I was on a session where the speaker was actually talking about now, as communicators, we have two audiences. We have our customers and our stakeholders, and we have the machines. They are to be treated as two separate audiences, even though one could just be a route to reach the other. But the truth is, the way in which you reach a particular audience, which is, let's say, your customers, your employees, it's about heart, it's about emotion, it's about emotional connection. Whereas the machines, the information has to be about structure, about hierarchy of content, because it depends on how the algorithm is actually picking up information. And we have to now give them information in a way that makes it easy for them to then rank you, showcase you in the way you want to. So I think as communicators now, our job is going to become more complex because these are two completely separate audiences.
And as it becomes complex, how are you going to keep on top of it? Because we can all, yes, it's a dynamic world. Tech is here. It's not going away. We've already imbibed a lot of the tech. But how do you keep on top of it? Because when AI is speaking to AI, agentic is speaking to agentic, human is speaking to agentic. I don't know who's speaking to who anymore, but there's a lot of conversation. So how do you keep on top of it?
I try a lot myself. So, if there's a new version of a sort of program available, I try it myself. If I use my own social media with both my followers as guinea pigs for all the content that I create on AI and put it out, because it's through the doing that I'm learning, and then that allows me to also engage with my teams better because I know what they're doing, and then I can talk to them and I can also see what has been AI generated, what hasn't. And I think it's just having a better fluency of the language that everybody's speaking right now. Um, how else? I think, there's a lot of talk right now about it not just being about making work easier, but about making workflow more institutionalized in a way that makes AI change the way in which you do what you do. I think a lot of the big agencies who are obviously more at an existential threat than the mid and small ones are much further down the line, as they very much should be, because they have the scale to be impacted faster, but also because they need to move faster. So I think there will be a lot of innovation. We're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of the big agencies do that. Of course, it's not coming without trade-offs. We're seeing the human impact of it as well. There's a lot of consolidation happening in the industry. And I think we still have to figure out where is the customer winning in all of this. Is it scale? Is scale the new game? Because that's what tech will allow you to do. But then, if you think about why we're here at Cannes to celebrate creativity, and that's always been at the heart of Cannes. And I mean, we've all sort of heard this: tech is the enabler. But where is the central idea that's come from a basic human truth that will help connect with people, or almost at an emotional sort of level, that then tech can scale? but where is the seed of the idea that has to come from creative? And hopefully we can hold on to that as something that will be human always and therefore be critical to our future.
So, have you had the opportunity yet to go and see any of the work in the basement?
Yes.
So, is there any such any work that particularly inspired you and gave you that kind of a seed of an idea that can really give, that human judgment coming to the fore?
Unfortunately, Vinita, the human brain works in a way where it's based on recency, and the last sort of campaign that I saw was one for Heinz, the ketchup, where they felt like they were sort of losing out on the sale of ketchup because um, they've been associated with fries forever. But when they saw a drop in the sales of tomato ketchup, what they did was they tied up with McDonald's to come up with a Heinz branded pouch for the ketchup on the side of the fries, which is, if you think about it, it's a very simple idea. But again, it's that little innovation that made all the difference for them to suddenly be front of mind with consumers to think that if you're having fries, it has to be Heinz, not ketchup.
Oh, I missed that work. I think I need to catch up on that. But that's a very interesting one. And Heinz has always been very playful and very provocative also with its campaigns. Like they came up with the black mustard, if I'm not mistaken, a while ago as one of the products, which was to, I think it was for Halloween, if I'm not mistaken. And it just created a lot of attention. It's how what you just mentioned, the human creativity and the human judgment and the human finesse and the understanding of what is the kind of cultural moments that will probably land. It might not have a long throughput, but in terms of product sales, but it is something that will get conversations going and create some kind of brand affinity at the end of the day. That's the whole business one is in, right?
Thank you. And I'm going to give you an example of another one from India that just came to mind. It's called the Indianist Dentress.
Oh yes, the
Did you
one
read
for
about this?
Colgate. Yes, I thought for
Yes.
photography. It won the one
Yes.
for photography. Yes, I did.
I thought it was absolutely brilliant because the wisdom is that we need to change our toothbrushes
Every
every
three
three
months.
months,
Yep.
but we don't because we're used to using it till we have to throw it without realizing the damage that we're doing to our teeth. So the idea was to come up with this image of toothbrush actually being some sort of a botanical garden. And the way in which it's been, the trick, there are two things. One is the idea is brilliant, but the second is the execution of it. If you look at the images that they've shot as part of the campaign, when you look at it, you don't see old toothbrushes. You actually see sort of
Some
old
flora or
flowers,
fauna that's
fauna,
there.
which again, this is a lesson, which is an idea is only good as its execution.
Correct.
And well done to this team. I think it's Brand David,
Yeah,
if
I
I'm
think
not
it's
mistaken.
Brand David, and I forget the other agency that is also there. But yes, it is Brand David, and I remember it's for Colgate because I really loved it, and it's also for the photography. So again, felt perfectly well. They deserved it.
And I really hope that that's the kind of work that we're able to celebrate back home because it's brilliant. It's brilliant in its simplicity, the idea, but the execution is flawless.
Well, thank you so much, Girish, for taking the time to speak to me. It was lovely chatting with you, and the background looks lovely and looks
I
like,
know.
Can has decided to be kind to us.
Thank you for this lovely conversation and all for India to really take its place at the world stage. We must do better.
Thank you.